News. I'm Ian Dover.
And I'm Seymour Butts. Today on Nick Minute News we have the tragic and sudden death of the Apple Man, aka Steve Jobs. The embarrassing fail of the Rugby World Cup, no, not from the All Blacks, but from John Key, the Prime Minister himself. We also have a Nick Minute exclusive interview with a local fashion icon about Stephen Donald's fashion-forward moment. But first up.
America had lost lots of jobs in the recession, and now it has lost one more. The father of the iPod, which revolutionised personal music and how we look at style and form, died today. He was 5 years old. Today we have Frederick Bigglesworth on the spot live with some of his loyal followers who have been holding a vigil outside the biggest Apple store in the world in Sydney, Australia. Here they are on the spot, Frederick Bigglesworth with some very sad Steve Jobs fans.
Hello, I'm Frederick Bigglesworth, and here we have Huey and Dewey. Thanks guys. Hi guys, and thanks for joining us today. Now, I understand you are devoted Apple fans. What does that exactly mean?
Well, it means that we know everything about him. Where he shopped, how many pairs of jeans he owned, what he ate. Hey, get this! Did you know he preferred pears to apples? Oh, did you know our rival's company, Peach Computers, once tried to take him out so that they could squish him into the market, but the core consumers weren't fooled.
Now, tell me, how do you think loyal followers will keep his memory alive?
Well, I believe they're working on a Steve Jobs 2.0. They're having trouble with it crashing all the time. Today we want to have a candlelit vigil using our iPad 2s, but they ran out of battery. He was a really PC guy. He would have wanted it done right. He wasn't square at all, he preferred rectangles.
Now, there are rumours surrounding the death. Some say the fashion police were responsible. Some say it was carried out by jealous Kiwis who weren't happy that they'd let Steve Jobs' apples in, but not theirs. What can you tell me about this?
Oh, I just heard that he died from a virus. It was just, like Control-Alt-Delete. No one could do anything.
Well, thanks guys, and that's all from me. Now back to you, Seymour, in the studio.
An interesting interview. Thanks, Fred. And now for something completely different. John Key, National's darling and poster boy. Has he disgraced himself one too many times? Was he just too done eager to get his hands on our prized possession, Richie McCaw? Whatever way you look at it, he made a right thick shake out of his tripod handshake at the Rugby World Cup. Jock Hobbs was said to be shocked and he had to lie down for 3 days to recover. Richie McCaw is reported saying that it ruined winning the cup. It was just so embarrassing. But are we being too hard on the Prime Minister? Are we underestimating the difficulty of handshaking? No, it really does just seem that easy. So we cross live to the Prime Minister just days before the nation hits the polls to find out why they now call him Hanky. Get it, Hanky?
I'm Polly Fuller, and joining me now is John Key. Mr. Prime Minister, can I call you Johnny?
No.
Okay, Mr. Prime Minister. Would you say winning the World Cup was your greatest moment in power so far?
Yes.
Really? You weren't even on the field, much like the Australians.
Well, I mean running with the rest of the country. It should make our asset sales go even easier. We are planning to sell Petty Repu to the Japanese.
John Key. Tell me, the public want to know, was this your first handshake ever? I mean, do you have any friends?
Well, Polly, my mum says she's my friend. She gives me kisses, but not handshakes.
I see. Mr. Key, it has been alleged that you did this awkward three-shake for attention, with an election looming so close. Is this true? Do you just want to beat Phil Goff's two-person handshake?
Well, exactly. I was thinking big for our country. I think that the three-person handshake is going to take off and create jobs, solve crime and prevent it too, and teach kids to read and cure cancer.
Mr. Prime Minister, I'm going to have to cut you off there. You promised not to start campaigning.
Quick, give me a baby to kiss. I'm on fire. Vote for me! Vote for me!
And that was Polly Fuller here in the capital reporting on John Key's epic fail number 300. And we're out of time. Back to you, Ben.
Thanks, Polly. Now for something completely different, but also about the Rugby World Cup. A certain player who was called into the squad at the last minute due to some players having better things to do was faced with an embarrassing wardrobe malfunction. Or was it? Stephen Donald's rather too tight shirt has caused a veritable new whirlwind in high fashion circles. Was it an accident or a carefully plotted stunt to launch this season's t-shirt hemlines? Will people be copying the style? Will John Key be wearing it? Or will he stuff up and get that wrong too? Who knows, and quite frankly, who cares? Not me, but my boss gets cranky if I don't do the stories he writes, and if I leave coffee ring marks on his desk during meetings. Let's cross to our on-the-spot reporter who has more on the situation. Over to you, Darth Vader.
Thanks, Ben. I'm Darth Vader, and joining me today is Gigi Gaborn. You are considered the last word in the fashion design. How do you feel about this?
First word, darling. I am the first and always the first in fashion, darling. Now, what was your question again, darling?
Do you think Stephen wore a too tight top on purpose?
Darling, I know Stephen. We go way back. He always liked his din-dins. I think it was simply over too much of him eating too many muffins that caused a muffin top. I tell him, Stephen, darling, KSC is the moment on the lips, but forever on the hips.
Okay, so the cartoon that was in the paper spookily predicting that he would be the one kicking the winning goal. What did Stephen think about this before the game?
Oh, darling, I have no idea. What is the goal? And who and what was he kicking? It sounds beastly, darling. And the important thing is that Stephen Donald has created a fashion sensation. Young, impressionable teenagers are lining up at KFCs all around the country trying to make their T-shirts right up Stephen style.
What other spin effects has this had on the nation?
Well, Jabba the Hutt has become quite popular, and they're renaming the McDonald's in his town, in his hometown.
Thanks for your time, Gigi. Now over to you, Kenron, with the weather update.
Good afternoon, my peeps. We have some interesting weather around the country tonight. It's raining cats and dogs here. I know, I just stepped in a poodle.
Double poodle.
In Waikakamukau, it's raining men with a change next minute to clouds.
Double clouds.
In Auckland, it's hailing Jeffers with a temperature of 150 degrees. I hope they like their chocolate melted.
Double melted.
In Hobbitville, there is a spaghetti tornado brewing and the weather in Area 51. Well, there is no weather as it doesn't exist.
Double 51.
It's 102. Anyway, in Nelson, it's snowing with a high of 45 degrees, so head down to those beaches with your boogie boards.
Double boogie.
In Christchurch, it's an overcast, but there is a full moon, so a 10% chance of aftershocks.
Double beautiful.
Oh, what? That's all for me. Stay beautiful, New Zealand.
Good night, New Zealand. Spot you tomorrow. Back with news with Ben and Seymour.
Thanks, Ken. Well, as far as compelling journalism goes, that really wasn't it. But we hope you enjoy our reporters' stories as much as their mums did.
Tonight, you've heard about the tragic death of the man who was always on the job. An epic fail from our Prime Minister that I just don't think he'll shake before the election. And a new fashion craze that's sweeping the mindless followers that are teenagers.
Thank you all for watching. We'll see you again next time.
From the whole team at Neck Minute News,
goodbye.
Ino hora.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Roll the camera. Okay.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight we are featuring an interview with a very peculiar-looking gentleman.